Good evening, all you beautiful people. It is Super Bowl week. Hey. Special team show. Familiar faces here. We got Luke on the bottom of the screen there. Reg off to, I guess, would be my right. Oh, whoa, moving me around. Hey. Myself, yeah, coming back. We've been away for a couple of weeks. We decided that we would take last week off and then come back with preview for the Super Bowl. So strap your helmets on. Let's do it.
Did you say Super Bowl week?
Yeah. Is it not Super Bowl week?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe though, really. Eh? Like that season blew by.
I know. The season kind of flew by.
Oh,
it did. You know what? I think doing this show actually made it feel like, because I would go from a week, then I would have to, then you get ready for this show, and then you finish, and then all of a sudden you're into Thursday night, right? Yeah. And then it was just like, just kept going and going.
Football,
right?
And it just kept rolling, baby.
Yeah, we should have done it like Rob and just not show up for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
who had the over/under on 2 minutes on before we started talking shit about Rob?
Ooh,
probably everybody.
Yeah,
on the under. Come on, let's be real. Let's see. January 31st, Rob said, yeah, we'll do a Super Bowl podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, it was this show actually was Rob's idea. For everybody that's listening or that might choose to listen, absolutely Rob's idea. And literally Reg's first comment before we said anything was, "Are you going to show up?" And ta-da. Here we are.
Like crickets.
Yeah, just crickets. Oh, well, whatever. You know what? The show goes on.
Still working at the Lions loss.
Maybe Rob is one of our Spotify listeners because he misses the show every week, so he has to listen to it the next day.
Take some notes.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, we're week and a half removed from the championship weekend. Had some good football to watch. 2 games that we got a chance to watch. I don't know if you guys want to just jump right into it and do recaps, or do you want to talk some stuff about it, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, let's back her up a bit and talk about the championship weekend, eh?
Yeah, you want to do that? Okay. All right. Let's bring up the old slideshow here. And so we started off championship weekend with the Kansas City Chiefs in town visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Started off pretty good, yeah. Your thoughts? Yeah, pretty good start to the game.
Yeah,
this team showed up, eh?
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know. It felt like, I think what was worrisome about watching Baltimore play is it felt very much like one of those situations where people say, well, this is the kind of stuff that Lamar is capable of doing, where he gets away from what's been working the whole time. And that's kind of been his MO in the playoffs, right? Since he keeps getting there when he gets there. So he just kind of, I don't know if he was trying too hard or if he was just getting away from what they were good at. Yeah,
but is that a play calling thing? Like,
I don't know. I think
there
John
was 8
Harbaugh
carries. 3 to Gus Edwards, 2 to Zay Flowers, 3 to Justice Hill. Lamar had 8 carries as well, so I'm sure 4 or 5 of them may have been designed carries, but it's like, They're the best running offense. I don't think. I remember seeing Harbaugh say, "Oh yeah, we wanted to run the ball, but like we just didn't get a chance to get that going." But it's like,
yeah.
Well, you were only behind. It's not like you were behind by 20 points. They ended up losing 17-10. And it was tied
they're still in the
7-7
game
in the
for
first
sure.
quarter, right? Like,
yeah.
The first quarter, I remember sending a text like, "Oh shit, we got a game going," because Lamar aired it out.
Yeah,
right
at
after
the end, that Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, like this is going to be a high scoring, fun game, and then it just turned into kind of a grindy game. And I don't know. I was just shocked that that they didn't get to the run game, and like I don't know, Lamar passed the ball to himself, so that was something.
That was something. Yeah,
he was literally doing it all.
I think it was undisciplined. And you see 9 penalties. Is that what it says? 9 down there or 8? I can't tell. But
oh yeah, very undisciplined.
It is 8. Yeah, very undisciplined, but football.
Sacks, like they're that pretty well. And then look at the time of possession too. Like it was Kansas City's. They've been playing hot, man. Even since that Buffalo game there, where they had that call come back here, they did that crazy lateral. I just think like they've been just hot as hell, man. I underestimated them even for this because I didn't think Baltimore would shit the bed that bad. But I think maybe the pressure.
Yeah. I guess my take was it, and you're right. I did call it undisciplined. Watching this game made me want to reach through a TV and start choking somebody. So you see things like you have rookie wide receivers. They're making poor choices, and I get it. He's caught in the moment and all that kind of stuff. But it was a snowball effect for him. But if you look at for those people who just listen, we've got just a little stats page up here, and it's a little bit difficult to see because it's kind of small. But if you look, we've talked throughout the season about things like time of possession, right? When Kansas City's holding the ball for almost 40 minutes of the game, right? It's almost 2/3 of the game. I think what concerns me about this is that why did Kansas City only score 17 points? Like, I know Baltimore's defense is great. Kansas City's defense is great. But when you have the ball for almost 40 minutes, 17 points seems a little low to me, right?
Yeah.
No?
It was just like all their passes just seemed short. Like everything just seemed like they were doing a little bit at a time, getting to third down, moving it up.
Yeah.
It's just like
4 yards per play is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like if you're really averaging 4 yards a play, it's like, okay, first down, punt. First down, punt. Maybe a chunk play here and there. Like, for example, Pacheco, I'm just looking into the stats more. He had 24 carries, but he averaged 2.8 and got 68 yards on the day, which is he ran more than the whole Ravens offense combined,
which is wild,
which is insane.
And he was hurt too.
And he had less yards than the Ravens, but like, yeah. I mean, they had 16 carries total, and Pacheco had 24 himself. So, but I think the average yards per play is the biggest thing there. And Baltimore's defense is really good, and like,
really good, like really good,
really good. Yeah, and I think that's all it is. And I don't know if they went for a 4th down in Baltimore's. I forget.
I can't remember, to be honest. 2 weeks ago, it makes it difficult.
Where it could have been like a field goal.
Yeah. Are you thinking the Lions?
Yeah.
We'll get to that one in a minute.
It does show that they're 1 for 2 on 4th down, so I'm not too sure there. But
what were the penalty yards? You have the penalty yards. Like, what were the yards? They have 8 penalties, but what were the total amount of yards? Like, 95, it must have been big. Yeah, like that's
for the Ravens and 30 for the Chiefs. So 3 holding penalties probably.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, I think, do you chalk this one up to one of those situations where, it just was not their day, right? Like they came out, like, it felt like the Lamar that we'd watched all season that was, for the majority of the season was in the running for the MVP. And then eventually was he's going to be the MVP of the league. It wasn't him on the field that day. And he didn't need to do anything extra. He really didn't. Like, it's not like you said earlier, Kansas City wasn't running away with the game.
Yeah.
right? Like he didn't have to make these I honestly think if you want my honest opinion, I think it was the moment. I think it was I want to win this game so bad that I feel like I have to keep making these ridiculous plays. And you really don't. You just got to settle in and play the damn game. That's really what it comes down to.
In the fourth quarter, every time they possessed the ball, it felt like Lamar was throwing it 40 yards down the field every single time he passed the ball. And it's just like, take the underneath, maybe scramble a bit. Like, it just didn't seem like the Ravens for sure in the fourth quarter.
We were getting gassed, I think. I think it was starting to catch up to them, and you know what? You were talking the best two teams in the AFC you're playing right now, right? Like it's any mistake you're going to pay for. They couldn't stop 34-year-old Travis Kelce at the most yards in the game. He was absolutely the MVP. You want to know why? And it wasn't even because of the plays he made. It was the way he got under everybody's skin. You want to talk about a veteran? You want to talk about a veteran? And everybody's like, "Oh, that's some bull." If you listen to any of the Baltimore Ravens stuff, right? They're all like, "Oh, that's unbelievable." Blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you what, you're acting like a player. Sure. You're acting like a player who's been there before. And when you react to that kind of stuff, you're showing that you've never been there before because you're allowing it to get to you.
Yeah, who'd he get? Van Noy.
You got Van Noy. Well, I mean, he started with Tucker, right? Like we can talk about the kicking thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like putting your helmet in your, everybody saw it. Tucker putting his stuff underneath, and he's allowed to be down there. But the reality is that you're putting your stuff underneath the quarterback's feet. Of course they're going to have a problem with that.
Kicks on the goal line.
Yeah, it's just
what I mean? It's just bullshit. But
it backfired. Whatever. It backfired. It fired them up, and yeah. I think Mahomes said it. He said, "Look, Travis and I came into the week with a totally different mindset." He's like, "We just weren't in the mood to joke around." He's like, "Yeah, it's a funny joke." Oh no, I think it was Kelce actually that said it. It's a funny joke. It's funny to go back and forth with each other, but we just weren't in that same state of mind.
Game. We're coming into your home and we're leaving winners, kind of thing.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into it when we talk about the next game. It's the same kind of thing, right? You're talking about experience versus inexperience, and it shows when it comes to these games. Somebody I remember listening to a podcast at the beginning of the year, and somebody said, playoff experience doesn't matter. If you have a team that's more hardened in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Well, we're going to talk about Mahomes and how Mahomes right now is saying, well, you know what? I'm just going to go through my Super Bowl routine. The guy has a Super Bowl routine. He knows. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that's not an advantage.
Yeah, what's this? This is going to be his fourth Super Bowl, right?
This is fourth, yeah. Fourth.
Yeah, and he's only lost one, and it was to Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. He's only lost a Super Bowl to Tom Brady. So think about that.
Probably the last time I cheered for the Chiefs.
I mean,
well, he was with the Bucks, so it's not like it was the Patriots.
Next
it was still Brady.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was crappy, like choose football over your family, Brady.
Yeah,
like I got no time for that, right?
It was bad.
Yeah, choose family over or choose football over your family. No, I'm not into it. Okay. Anyway, putting it to rest. Any last remarks about this? What do you think about Baltimore for next year? You think they're going to be fine?
Rest in peace, Baltimore season. I think they blew their chance. I don't know if they'll be able to do that again.
Oh, you think so, eh? Wow, that's a take, man. You think so?
Well, there's so many changes in the NFL, like versus other sports that, there's so much player movement and coach movement, and can you do that same thing again and again and again? The Chiefs, there's teams that can do it. Can Baltimore do it? We'll see.
Yeah, well, and you got to think Joe Burrow's coming back next year. Cincinnati's back in the mix. Yeah. You've got Cleveland division, who played strong, right? Yeah. Like again, we're back talking about the AFC North all over again, right? And like
rising teams like Buffalo are out there, man. Like, or not rising. I mean, Buffalo just sort of had it off here, but I mean, they turned it on at the end. The Chiefs are still legit. Like, there's a lot of competition, man, to do that again.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think the Ravens, if they can keep obviously their defense together. I don't know any of their contracts and all that kind of stuff. If they can keep most of that defense together, I think they'll be able to carry off of that. And I'm pretty sure, what's his name? Mark Andrews will be back. Obviously Zay Flowers is back. So they've got that, and then they just need to get the run game going, which I'm assuming they'll keep Gus, or what's the other guy's name? Justice Hill.
It's Justice Hill. He's the receiver, isn't he?
No, I think he's
Yeah, he's
The
a back.
third
He got a
back.
pile of
He
receiving
was like the third
yards,
back.
actually. That's what it was, but he was catching all he got like their most yards
yeah,
for
I was
receiving
back there,
that game. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if they can pick up one more target other than Aguilar's, I think he's awful.
Oh, he's like a third stringer.
But he came
Yeah.
through in that game, didn't he? Wasn't it that game that he
Yeah,
came through with big play?
No, I don't think it was
Or
that.
was it the game
he
before?
wasn't. They have Odell and all those guys. Like, they need like a Devontae
I
Adams.
think they
or
just
something
need
like that.
another young guy like Zay Flowers.
Big
They
target.
got Mark
Where's Zay
Andrews.
Flowers?
They've got a good offense. The defense, if most of it stays together, I think they're a solid team for the next couple of years.
Well, I know a wide receiver that might be coming available out of San Francisco because just cap rooms and things like that. So you never know.
Yeah, to my point, there you go, right? Like that's tough for teams to stay together. And then you have a draft too on top of that where you're literally picking up people that just, it's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, I think I guess my personal opinion about the Ravens is I think they're a strong team. I think one of the strongest parts about the Ravens is, you've got a solid coaching staff. They didn't poach a lot of their coordinators. They didn't lose that kind of stuff. Harbaugh is doing his thing. Him and Lamar are on the same wavelength. I think that they're still a competing team next year. You're right. Maybe they're not the number one team in the AFC next year. Like, the Chiefs have resurged. Will they continue into next year? You've got the Bills, like you said, the Bengals coming back. The Dolphins. What do the Dolphins do next year? Do they change some things there? Right, a lot of opportunities, but I don't think that Baltimore finds them way like in the cellar of the North.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston's around.
Indy.
Like,
there's a lot of competition, man.
Yeah, Indy. Yeah. If what's his face gets back, yeah, man. So well, I guess we'll see. Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Fun game.
Bam.
I was. You go first, Rick, because I'm sure.
I don't care. You guys can go first. It doesn't matter. I can tell you what I thought. So
I don't follow these teams, so I will hear what you say.
I started watching this, and I thought, holy fuck. Yeah. I had the juju, the magic. Remember how I was like, oh, there's something magical in Detroit. There's something going on. I thought I cursed this game for you, Rick. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought.
No, you know what? It's okay because the biggest issue that the Niners have, I mean, other than the offense is not starting super strong, right? Is that it's the same. The team is basically playing the same way it's played all year.
Yeah.
The only difference is that it took 3 quarters in the Green Bay game for the offense to get started. It took 2 quarters in the Detroit game for the offense to get started. But the defense does the same shit every week where they start kind of the offense gets out to this big lead. So then the opposing offense has to try to do some stuff, right? But then when they go into halftime, our defensive coordinator, Steve Weich, or whatchamacallit? Yeah. And either way, he makes all these adjustments. And next thing you know, their defense comes out and they play a different game. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what happened. And the defensive line, the Niners defensive line is so underperforming right now. It is unbelievable. This is so bad.
So I made notes about like the keys to victory for the Super Bowl. And you're pretty much talking about my whole Super Bowl keys to victory for the Niners. So I can't wait to just basically say the exact same thing you just said. So
it's almost like I pay attention to my team.
It's actually it's very funny. I was just like, let's put together some keys to victory for these teams.
Yeah.
Because anyways, getting behind early, like we went into half and I thought as if we're gonna have the fucking Detroit Lions playing in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I kind of felt sick, but also kind of it was like, okay, like I'm happy for Detroit if they get there, whatever. But
you kind of felt like if Detroit was going to win, it was going to be like a last minute, like, oh shit, like that just happened. This didn't look like that. Detroit was beating the shit out of the Niners.
They were doing whatever they wanted. Yeah,
they were beating the shit out of them.
Jared Goff was doing whatever he wanted. They were running all over the place. It was, it looked terrible. It kind of made me think like, maybe the Niners. You know what Dan Campbell should have said at the end of he should have had the Denny Green like
we let him off the hook.
We thought they were.
Yeah, we let him off the hook. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Like how and I think this goes back to your whole experience thing. and this is one of the big differences we'll talk about in the Super Bowl, but like an experienced team isn't gonna blow that lead and let a team
Not a
come back
chance.
like that. So
Not a chance.
yeah, it's and the Lions, like, I don't know if they'll make it back. I don't know. We'll see. But it's
Yeah.
a
What do you think,
tough
Luke?
one. Like,
They couldn't stop McCaffrey, man. He had like 20 touches and 2 touchdowns. Like, guy's a beast, dude. And like, to not know that he wasn't going to get the ball, I mean, he's just that good. I feel, correct me if I'm wrong too, was I feel like Nick Bosa, they talked a lot about him in that last quarter. He was really putting pressure on Goff. And
Nick Bosa was the MVP of the second quarter or the second half.
he's
Absolutely
sort of my pick.
he changed the whole dynamic of the game because now Goff was uneasy in the pocket.
Yeah,
and up until that point, Goff was just doing whatever the hell he wanted. Yeah.
And you know me, once the quarterback starts getting hit, I'm all over that shit, man. It's like I was like, that dude's gonna eat him every time he got near him. Goff was making a quick throw, or they were handing it off, which was predictable. And then, of course, you know, we don't go for a kick on fourth. I think twice. Correct me.
Twice, yeah. Well, they went for it on fourth down a couple times.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll give it to Robbie because I did say to him afterwards, I was like, that was a tough one. And he's just like, you know, you live by the sword. And I was like, true, but I would not be able to cheer for a team that did that.
No, like, and you know what's funny is I feel I feel for Lions fans because they really do believe. Dan Campbell has done an incredible job, first of all, and I don't want to take that away because he has established a culture. And he said when they were the shitty team, he said, you just got to trust me. I'm going to get you there. And so in order to get that trust, what he did was he said, this is what we're going to do. And he kept doing it. But the difference is it's like when you're a parent of a child, right? You let a child get away with something for so long, but eventually if you keep letting them pull, stretch the limits, eventually they're going to either get themselves hurt or get themselves into trouble. Right. So at some point you have to be the adult and you have to step in and say, you can't do this anymore. This doesn't work this way. And that's all he needed. Had he done that, we wouldn't even be sitting here talking about it. It would be a different conversation altogether.
Yeah. My biggest struggle with the whole live by the sword, die by the sword thing is at the end of the second half, they had a chance to go up 17 points.
That is correct.
Sorry, they were up 14.
They had a chance to go up by 3 scores.
Going for a touchdown, they said, no, we'll kick the field goal, go up by 3 scores at the end of the second quarter. That's one time where it was the fourth down and he decided not to go for it. He kicks the field goal. He goes up by 3 scores, and they went into the half and they were up 3 scores. And I thought, holy fuck, 3 scores is like, it's a monumental to come back from 3 scores. Like, it's very big. It's
never happened in the NFC in the championship weekend. Never happened.
A lot of work.
There's been like 32 games where they've been 17-0, and the team has never come back. Or 17
exactly.
Points.
And then what happens is the Niners get the ball coming out from the half, kick a field goal. I'm just double checking that this is right. Yeah, they kick a field goal. Lions got the ball back, and they had a chance to kick another field goal. And I know that the kicker isn't great and all that stuff, but the Lions could have went back up by 3 scores, and they went for it on fourth, blew it. There was a touchdown, then the fumble, and then obviously the next touchdown that brought it to a tie game.
Yeah.
I think you have to go for that field goal there and go back up by 3 scores. And also, if there's anyone that watches sports and doesn't believe in momentum, this is
Classic
a perfect
momentum.
Example of momentum. And
it was a complete, you could tell the crowd was different. Everything was different. The whole
everything
thing was
changed. And at that point, when everything's changing, maybe you need to change your technique. And it's easy for us to sit here and be coaches and all that stuff. But like, if momentum's shifting, maybe you don't stick with what you're doing because it's not working, and just do the thing.
His problem is he's a proud guy, and he felt like if I show weakness to my team right now, they won't trust me, and I need them to trust me. Yeah. Right. And I get it. But the thing is that, like I said, at some point, right, we're not talking about a regular season game here where if you lose, you're like, well, that sucked, but you know what? I said we're going to do this no matter what. We are talking about the NFC championship game where you punch your ticket to the Super Bowl, and then for 2 weeks, all we do is listen about how awesome you were because you went away from your regular script and you decided that no, in order to win this game, I had to do this. That's how champions are made. And that is a classic example of experience. Example of it.
And I think leadership, and you're talking about, you know, your team trusting you. If your team trusts you, you should be able to make any decision. It shouldn't be going for it on fourth down every time and they trust me. It should be, you trust me as the leader of this team. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If you've ever watched me,
there's so many people on that team that may never make a Super Bowl, and they really had an opportunity to make it here. But
yeah, if you ever watched a 49er game with me, you'll know that one of the things Jen will tell you, she can give you two things that make me scream. And one is the clock management, the way that Kyle Shanahan manages the clock at the end of the games or end of the halves. And I scream and yell at the TV. I'm like, rah, rah, rah. They did an interview, and when you're talking about trusting philosophies and things like that, they did an interview with Kittle. Somebody said, hey, how do you feel about what he does? You know, leading, he says, what he does is, he said, honestly, at the beginning of my career with Kyle, when Kyle was around, I thought, I don't know if I agree with how he does this, right? He said, but he takes the time to explain during the game planning portion of the week, this is why we're doing what we do. And he sticks to it. Now, at the same time, it's kind of the Dan Campbell effect because I've watched it burn us before, right? But there's probably times when maybe I don't realize it, that it's actually put us in a position. So again, are we going back to analytics and percentages and things like that? Like, are we back to a spot where we say, oh, like, I guess if you do it this way, you win more often than you don't. I don't know. It's just, I know that in the moment, there's nothing that makes me want to scream more than watching this go down, right? Like when you're playing the last 2 minutes of the first half, and you're playing to kick a field goal rather than driving to try to score a touchdown, I want to punch my TV. And I don't want to be that person that shows up on YouTube the next day that punched his TV because his team sucked, right? Like, I don't want to be that person, but it gets me close, like very, very close.
In Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. So
I think,
anyway,
I think I'd rather see my team go down with 30 seconds left of the clock on the 10 and they go for it on fourth and don't get it. I mean, if you're ahead, that's okay, because the other team starts with a disadvantage on their own goal line pretty much. Like, that's hard. But yeah, hey, I'm not a coach. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. My overall thoughts of this game was, I think that the experience of the team, the majority of this team has been there before. They've been to this game before. They understood what needed to happen. I do believe that they needed a couple of things to happen early to prove. I think that the one person that maybe on the field didn't show it, but definitely if you watch him on the sideline showed it, was Brock was actually affected by it. Like, you could tell, and I don't think it was because he was beating up himself. I think he realized that if he didn't pull something off, or if he didn't pull through here, he was letting down. He really believes in this whole letting down the rest of the team thing. It's really this kind of personality that he has. And that was one person that was definitely affected by it. So young
too, right? Like, it could just be, coming with maturity and age eventually. Debo was clearly his favorite target, and it was working. But it was, hey man, they stayed in and they won at the end of the day. They played well. Yeah, it was good.
Experience. The guy's been there twice.
Yeah. How about Juszczyk? He's got the deep ball to Juszczyk down the middle right side, and then he's got the one that toe tap the drag on the side. Come on. I was like, I'm watching him scramble and then him throw that ball, and Juszczyk, it looked like he paused in air. I'm just gonna stay right here for a minute, then I'll fall over. Yeah, so that's good. Okay, are we good with this one now?
Yeah. Quite the game.
Right. Ayo.
Super Bowl, baby. Okay, so I got to do it. These guys, I prepped them already. You guys can turn down your mics, your ears or whatever. But obviously, there's this meme that's going around that I found, and I love it. I think it's the funniest thing ever. So everybody knows, or everybody might not know, I guess, that the 49ers enter playing boombox tunes coming out of the locker room, and they do this whole dance thing all the way down. It's been a thing. A couple teams started to copy it and things like that. But I found this on the internet, and they said that the 49ers literally have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. And here it is. Can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be all right. 'Cause the player's gonna play. And the haters gonna hate, baby. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break. And the fake is gonna fake.
Jen watches this and she giggles every time. Did you see Juwan Jennings at the end? He's like skipping along through the crowd.
Yeah.
Like he's actually listening to it.
My favorite part is when they all clap and she's clapping too. It kills me every time.
He's good at it.
Don't think it's gonna happen, but
no, I don't think so either. Did I give you a slide? I did. I gave you a slide. All right. What do you got, lads? Let's start with Luke. I feel like Reg and I have done some talking, so it's all you, Luke. Get the show, man. What do you think?
What do I think about this game?
Yeah.
I think she's going to be tight, boys, but I don't know. I have a hard time. I'm pretty neutral on this, to be honest. I haven't done too much homework on either team other than, the obvious that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I think KC has the advantage through the veteran leadership, through coaching. I think Sanford has the advantage just through pure talent right now. But KC's hot, man. You get Travis Kelce playing like he was. I mean, if Pacheco, is playing healthy and he starts running hard. Same with Rashid Rice. I mean, he was pretty quiet that last game too. Mahomes can find anybody in the field, and he's going to be the key, obviously. But and to your point, and I'm just guilty. I don't know the names of the players too much on KC's defense, but I do know they've been dominant all year. That's been the most consistent thing about KC. And if they're going to get
them,
if they're going to get under Sanford's skin, they're going to get into Brock Purdy, and test his sophomore skills, right? So
yeah.
On the flip side, I think. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey can get 20 touches again and put up the numbers he did last week, they're going to be pretty fucking hard to stop. Throw the ball to Kittle a couple times. Maybe you get a big open pass to Debo. San Fran should be able to keep up easily, if not take the lead and put the pressure on them. That's where I'm seeing it going. But at the end of the day, I think she's going to be a tight game.
Yeah.
According to this stats, it looks like it will be.
Yeah, they're pretty tight.
They're pretty tight.
I don't disagree. I think I don't know how many times we sat on this show and we kept betting for KC, saying, well, one of these you bet for KC because you don't bet against them, right? Eventually they're going to against them. Eventually they're going to make it all right. And the only thing that kept us doing that all season was their defense. The defense literally kept us betting on them because they kept them in all the games, right? And perfect example is, the AFC Championship game, right? Like, of course, Baltimore had the chance to score 40 points on them if they wanted, right? And then conversely on the other side, did KC have a chance to put up a lot of points? Yeah, sure they did, but they didn't. So I think where KC struggles is still on the offense, and not because they're underperforming, just because they're not maximizing. They're not putting the ball down the field as hard as they have in years past. So I think that's the challenge. The problem is that we can't stop the run game for shit right now. Like that's really our biggest issue is run game. We can play, we've got the linebackers to play the intermediate level. Sure, Travis Kelce, if you think that you're going to stop Travis Kelce, you're faking yourself out, right? Like he's going to get his touches. He's going to do the shit he does. The guy doesn't even run regular routes. He basically has a freedom to just run wherever he wants, right? So
it's just that good, right? Like he's like a peak tight end.
Yeah, when you get to do that and you have a quarterback that knows that you're doing it, whatever. I think there was a joke. Like I was listening to their podcast last week, and there was one where Kelce comes across the middle and dives for the ball to catch it, right? And he goes back and he's telling his brother about the whole situation. His brother's like, man, this is quite the catch. He's like, oh man, I got to tell you a story. He says, we go back to the huddle and the play comes in and Mahomes changes the play. And Kelce's like, well, I don't think you should change the play. Like, I think the play is pretty good. Right. So snaps the ball and Kelce goes and does his own thing. Well, then he turns around and he sees that fucking Mahomes is expecting him to be coming across the field. And now he's running around trying to save his neck, right? Like he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off in the backfield, looking for Kelce to come across the middle. And Kelce's not anywhere there. So Kelce's like, well, I better get my head out of my ass and get across the field here. So he goes running across the field. The ball comes out, sure enough. And he's like, it's kind of like a lame duck, he said. And all I can think is, you better catch this damn ball. Like, you better, after being an asshole, you better. He clearly says right on the podcast, he's like, this is not how you play football, by the way. You do not. If the quarterback comes in and says, this is what we're running, that's what you run. Right?
Yeah, you do that play.
That touchdown Kelsey caught was just a rocket. It was just
that was nasty.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Like
Unreal.
it was just top tier touchdown. I was blown away, man. So,
Yeah.
he's a factor, man. And Pacheco had 24 touches too. So, and again, I think he was running on a bum foot. So if he got healed up this week, he's going to be a factor. So,
yeah. What do you? What
flip
do you
side?
think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Reg. What do you got?
Yeah, so I guess my thoughts are for the 49ers, they can't get off to a slow start like they did, right, with Green Bay and the Lions. I think the Chiefs defense is good enough that if they get ahead, they can probably hold off the Niners long enough. Like against Green Bay, that game was down to the fourth quarter, like down to the wire. Against the Lions basically said, here, you can have the game. Like, let's just give you the game. And there's no way the Chiefs are going to do that. They want another Super Bowl. It's
with all due respect, I mean, the Lions did give away the game in the second half, but the Niners still went and made plays.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if you're up 17-0 or whatever as the Chiefs, or up 17 points, they're not going to give you set, especially in the second half. Second half Chiefs defense is very, very good, and so is the Niners second half defense. So I think most of our scoring's happening in the first half, but I think Purdy, like, he's been great when it comes down to it. Like, he's been clutch when he needs to be and all that stuff. Obviously this is the biggest game of his career, and he just needs to be mistake free, and I think they'll do all right. As far as the Chiefs, obviously the Kelsey Mahomes thing probably isn't going to be stoppable for the 49ers. Like, it's going to happen. I think that is one of the big things that they would like to stop, but like you had mentioned, their run defense has been a little suspect the last 3 weeks or the last 2 weeks. And I think the Chiefs really should just try to get the run game going so that they can potentially open up for other targets other than Kelsey, so they can get Rashee Rice and MVS and that kind of stuff going. And I really do think the passing game is going to come down to the pass rush for each team, or like it's going to be one in the trenches. Both these quarterbacks are, I think they're probably the two best quarterbacks against the blitz this year. I'm not 100% sure if that's right, but like they seem to.
I know
really
Purdy
good
was. I'd have to
blitz.
check Mahomes. I know Purdy was, but
That'd be really cool if it was, though. Actually,
I'm pretty sure Mahomes is. I was looking up Mahomes against the blitz, and I saw like a career thing, and like when there's 5 pass rushers, he's like 16 touchdowns, 1 interception over his career, where like when it's 4, he's got like 64 and 18 or something like that.
Yeah, just
and his rating is third.
What was his 4? His
like when you rush 4, it's
what
like
was it?
64 TDs, 18 interceptions. It's over his career, right?
Yeah, so the 49ers don't blitz. They only rush 4. They very rarely. They had to change it up against Detroit, but Detroit. They very rarely blitz.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen Purdy's been excellent against the blitz as well. So I think really you need to win the trenches game, win the rushing, get the run game going, and hopefully you can possess the ball and you're not getting blitzed a lot, and you can kind of move forward that way. But we'll see. I mean, if we're making picks, I hate to do it, but I think I'm picking the Chiefs. I will be cheering for the 49ers.
Yeah, I get it.
I can't bet against the Chiefs. It's like what we've been saying, right? Like we just said it earlier. It's just like, I don't know what it is, but they seem to win, and like points against per game, 13.7. That's an absurd number.
Yeah.
Like that is insane.
Which is ironically second too. I mean, someone was better than them.
Probably the Ravens, right?
Yeah. Even the rushing yards against, when you're looking at it, like 6th of the league.
Yeah. So
that's tight to keep that out for the whole year.
Yeah, I think it's a close game. But if San Fran's offense stumbles like they have the last 2 weeks, which I think is possible, the Chiefs get out and get a 7-10 point lead, and it ends up coming down to the wire. But I think they end up winning the game because I don't think anyone's really scoring much in the second half. Both defenses have been insane in the second half. So
yeah.
It's almost like two different games. Eh? Like the whole playoffs, I noticed have been like that every game. Like, and maybe it's always like that. I don't know, but it seems like as soon as half hits, like every game just changed. There was no like, oh, these guys are running away with it in the last two weeks, right? Like it just seems like both teams went and adjusted. They came back and they played different football each game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Offensively, the Chiefs need to step up because I think defensively they'll be there. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I'll echo probably a lot of what you said there. I don't like the Niners if the Chiefs get out to a lead. Do I think they can keep the game tight? Yes. Do they think they can come back and make the game tight? Yeah, I'm sure they can, but do I like their ability to keep coming back? Because it's not like the Chiefs are just going to stop scoring, right? Like if the Niners are scoring, the Chiefs are going to find a way, even if it's kicking field goals or whatever. So it's not like the Kansas City score is just going to stop adding up. So I don't like that. So I guess I'll start on the offense. The 49ers weapons, they're all there. They're all healthy. I really see no reason why they can't compete. Brock Purdy's the second best quarterback in the game. He's a great quarterback. I love everything about him. Mahomes is by far the things that he does are incredible. The difference there is that where Mahomes can trust Pacheco, Kelsey, and Rice. Purdy can trust Juszczyk, Kittle, Ayuk, Jennings, Samuel, like McCaffrey. It just right, like the list just keeps going on, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Dominant left tackle. Trent Williams is there. This is his first chance at a Super Bowl. I really don't think that this man wants to mess it up. I think that pressure is going to be a thing though. And I do like Brock under pressure. I don't think that he's quite as electric as what Mahomes might be, but I think that he makes plays. I think one play that I would like to see him kind of stay away from in this game is he'll make this play where he throws over top of the middle linebacker on a crossing route. And he just barely makes it over top of the linebacker. And it's a really cool play to watch.
When it works.
He's only thrown one interception, I think, doing it, and he threw it right at the fucking linebacker. So I just don't think what I have noticed, and a lot of these teams, they set it's funny because even Kelsey talked about it a couple weeks ago about one of the plays that they set up, but they set up plays, right? Like they'll run this play week 6 and then they'll run it in week 10 and they'll do it a certain way. And then all of a sudden they'll run the exact same play, but they'll do a little tweak. And that little tweak is, so watch for Brandon Ayuk right now when we've needed, when there's been a 2nd and long or a 3rd and long, he's done this out play. Specifically on what would be the left sideline in a lot of the games where Brock hits him right at the sideline and he ends up catching it and steps out of bounds and all that kind of stuff. Watch him to turn that into an out or an up and like a go and see where that goes, because Brandon, other than that 50-yard bomb, he's really been relatively quiet in these long balls, and the start of the season he was all over the place.
Yeah, Debo sort of took over up the middle. Like that seemed to be like their go-to.
That's Debo's thing.
And he's so fast though, right? Like if you get that guy open, man, he's hard to catch. That dude.
Not only is he fast, but he likes to hit people, right? Like he likes to.
He's not scared. He's not scared to get hit. No.
Yeah, so he likes to run into people. He has no problem. You know, George is almost every game that you've watched probably in the last 6 weeks of the 49ers, George is put on a double block somewhere where he's blocked 2 defenders at the same time. Like they're playing at a really good level. I just don't like Reg said, I don't like the slow start. Right.
No.
They need to start fast and they need to, you know, it can't be a field goal. They got to score a touchdown, right? They got to go and do that and set that tone and show themselves that, hey, look, we're in this game, right? Like, I don't want to see, if I see a 3 and out on the first possession, I'm going to be upset. Like that makes me scared, right? Because we're going back into this Green Bay Detroit thing.
Yeah. If you win the toss, do you want the ball?
No, I don't.
You want to kick it to the
Kyle hasn't.
Yeah,
Kyle hasn't taken the ball anytime he's won the toss. He doesn't do it. He actually told you he won't do it. So yeah. So that's where I see that. I think on the 49ers defensive side, I think they need to choose. So basically, they're going to have to trust their corners. Their corners are going to have to play the wide receivers. They're going to have to do that. That's just going to be that's going to be their job. And the Niner defense, White has to decide whether or not he wants to take away Kelsey or whether or not he wants to stop Pacheco. And he has to be okay with the idea that one of the two, whichever one he chooses not to take care of, is going to get plays. They're going to get first downs. And every once in a while, he's just got to roll the dice and hopefully he picks the right one to try to stop them on those third down, third and mids, third and longs. But I really think that that's what's got to happen. He's got to take one of them away.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And also like just letting your DBs play the wideouts, because I feel like letting Rashee Rice or MVS beat you. Like, I don't think they're
not going to beat us.
They're okay.
They're going to get their plays. They're not going to beat us.
Exactly. Like, make them beat you, and they're not going to beat you.
That's right.
Charvarius Ward and Pacheco are going to beat you.
Yeah, Charvarius Ward was probably the most underrated corner in the league all year, right? Like, he was out of control, right? And then you've got Diamador Lenore, who's playing the other side right now, and he's a young guy, playing a little cocky sometimes. As long as he's out there, then we should be okay. It's when we watch number 20, Ambry Thomas, when he gets out there, it gets a little dicey, right? So just watch for those plays when you're watching the game. So that's him on offense. Defense, I like our linebackers. I like them to do what they need to do. I think that's the unit that I trust the most on the defense. I don't think that there's any reason not to trust them. Dre Greenlaw will do what he does. I think I'd love to see a turnover. I think that the defense needs a turnover. I think early on would be great. I think the epitome of the turnover would be the interception. I think that a forced fumble would be great because I think that'll test Pacheco. I know Pacheco's been there before, but he's playing a team that he knows can run a score up on him. So I think a turnover to a young guy like that might be a big deal, but I'd love to see the turnover. So, but I think that's pretty much where I lie. Obviously I'm not going to come out of tonight and pick the Chiefs. I'm not going to do that. Do I think that the Chiefs have a chance to win the game? Of course they do. They are one of the 2 out of all of 32 that made it here. Of course they have a chance. They wouldn't be here.
Any
right?
team that makes it to the Super Bowl has a chance.
I absolutely 100% agree. Do I think that the experience thing, the Niners have been to 3 of the last 4 NFC championship games. They've been here before. I said it clearly last week or the week before. Look, if I'm going to lose the Super Bowl, I don't want to go to it. Right. I'm sick and tired of losing Super Bowls. I'm done with it. I lost to Baltimore. I lost to KC. I don't want to do it anymore. I need this win for the George Kittles. I need it for the Trent Williamses, the Kyle Juszczyks. These are the people that I need this win for. And I think that I'm really tired of the Purdy narrative, and it'd be nice to just put that to bed. I don't need him to be the MVP or anything like that, but
it'll always be there.
It'd be nice to just like say the fucking guy won a Super Bowl, like leave him alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
NFC championships. He's been in NFC championships than Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
Taylor said it.
That's a hard.
Then Lamar, or more championship games than Lamar Jackson. Is that right? He's only been to 1 AFC championship.
Yeah, that was his first.
More championship games than Joe Burrow. Like,
Yeah, he's. I mean, the narrative is just ridiculous. I don't know why why it's a thing, and me talking about it's only helping fuel it. So I shouldn't talk about it. But
yeah, I think
you hear it more than anybody, though. I mean,
it's literally nonstop. Like the shots being taken. One stat, completely outside of Purdy. One stat I read today. One interesting. You know what? Have you ever listened to the Kelsey podcast? They call them LeBron stats. You ever heard that? The LeBron stat of the day? Yeah. Throughout the season, it's maybe not a LeBron stat, but throughout the season, the Niners were number 1 in zone rushing offense. So, using the zone rush formations and play calling. The Chiefs were 31st in zone rush defense.
Ooh.
So when you say 20 touches for McCaffrey, a lot of like the fans, the guys that, that talk a lot about it, they're saying they want 30. Give him 30. Like, let him run. Right.
Hey, man,
so
like you got him for how long is he going to be here? Right. Like he's peaked. He's peaking.
Yeah.
You got to use that horse when it's like at its best. Like it's.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about next week's game.
Use it, baby.
Yeah,
right. Like you're not looking to make the playoffs now. You're here. Right. Like you got to do what you got to do.
Is he going to play like this next year or the year after? Maybe next year. We know how running backs go. I would say, like, to your point, I would run the shit out of him just to see how it goes, man.
I feel like also
he's MVP quality.
Any person on that field, I feel like CMC is the most determined person in every.
I agree. In every play.
In every single.
Well,
game.
I don't know. Like if you watch Kittle play, like he's so far away from the play a lot of the time. But if you go back and watch like the all 12, Kittle does some things. You're like, oh my god! Like he goes looking to hurt people on a
Greg Olson's his biggest fan.
Yeah,
I just feel like I watch CMC and he just like he runs hard every play and he's
always
he's fucking.
He doesn't stop. He's just wired different, man.
Yeah,
he is. He really is.
He's in it. I guess another point that I'd like to make is that if the Niners do get down, it will be very interesting to see how Purdy in the offense handles the pressure. I'm assuming they'll be okay with it, but
I mean they've done the last
two
games.
More comfortable as a Chiefs fan behind than as a Niners fan behind, if that makes sense.
I mean, if you're asking one of the teams to come back and you're asking me to put bets on who's better to come back from a 17-point deficit, I'm gonna in this format 10,
right? Like
yeah. I mean, if it's close, I'm not really worried. I don't call that a comeback, right? When you're down 2 or 3 scores, then Mahomes is the quarterback. You want it's like asking, you put Brady and fucking whoever you want against Brady. Who are you going to give with 2 minutes left on the clock? You're going to put in Brady's hands, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not even talking like a game-winning drive. I'm just saying like pressure in general. First quarter comes out, the Chiefs come up 10-0 kind of thing.
I mean, I feel like the last 2 weeks, though, like just to compare to that, to rebuttal that, the last 2 weeks has been exactly that format.
Oh, been down,
and I think Purdy's handled it just fine, right?
Well,
I feel like there's a bigger threat to lose to Green Bay than there was to Detroit last week. To be honest, I think Detroit was going to lose to Detroit. If I was down like 17-0, though, I would still trust Christian McCaffrey. I would still run that guy. He's that good. I
think that's the beauty of what happened this last week is they didn't get away from Christian, right? No. They were like, no, you know what? We're going to run it more, right? Here we come.
And Detroit ran the hell out of them too, right? Like they ran the ball against the Niners hard, man. And the Niners persevered. And one thing about George Kittle, your boy George Kittle, he's one of the few tight ends that can catch a deep ball really well. He's another threat down the field when he wants to be, which is impressive.
I feel like no one wants to tackle him. I feel like the last
probably hard to hit.
Well, that's because he looks at them and he runs right at them. You ever watch him?
Yeah,
he literally looks for somebody and runs straight at them every time. Like
he reminds me of Kelsey when he was coming up and through. To be honest, like Kelsey had that kind of mentality too, man. Yeah, I like George Kittle.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it's good. I like this matchup. I'm happier that it's actually. I don't want to say I didn't want to see Baltimore there, but I feel like Baltimore peaked at that Christmas game. There was something after that Christmas game. It was almost like they put it on easy mode, or they felt like an entitlement. Like
they had won their Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was like they peaked and that was it. They sort of like put it on cruise, and then they met a real team in the Chiefs and just didn't take it serious. And the fact that the Chiefs held the ball like we talked about earlier and kept that score the way it is, that might be the biggest factor right there the Niners have to contend with is possession time.
Yeah. We'll see. Well, lads,
game.
Red on red. Who do you guys got for you gonna say hey, you got 2 MVP picks? Reg?
yeah, go ahead, Reg.
I mean, the easy thing is the quarterback of whichever team wins. But I'm gonna let's pick non-quarterbacks.
All right.
Even though it probably won't happen.
What? Let's make it fun. Pick a defensive player.
Oh, I know.
Well, let's pick an offense and a defensive for each team.
Okay.
I think offensively, the Chiefs, their person needs to be Pacheco. As well with San Fran, I think it needs to be a CMC. Outside of the quarterbacks, obviously. Defensively,
that's tough, man. Justin Reed's pretty fucking good in KC, but he's no Nick Bosa, dude.
Yeah, I was probably gonna say Nick Bosa.
Sneed,
the Chiefs.
Sneed, Chris Jones. Come on, these are guys.
I really do. You know what? I'm gonna go with what I was saying earlier. I think it's the battle of the trenches. So I will go with Chris Jones. I think whoever wins on the lines is gonna win the game. Whoever can possess the ball, play mistake-free football. Really?
Yeah. All right, Luke. Who do you got for your non-quarterback MVP? Both sides of the ball.
For San Fran, well, I would think McCaffrey would be my pick. Be my natural pick for the offense, and then I'll take Bosa all day, man. I love watching that guy hit shit. So yeah. I think and you know what? I was leaning towards if San Fran won, I mean, if Purdy has a bad game and they still end up winning, I think Bosa's in the defense is going to play a massive factor there, right?
Yeah, sure.
I like that. And then the Chiefs, was it Justin Reed again? I think was his name. And again, I'm not as savvy on the Chiefs defense. They seem to act as a unit, man. It's impressive. But I had Rashee Rice all year.
Yeah.
On my fantasy roster. And I'm debating if he's a keeper or not. He could be one of those guys that just come out of nowhere, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's gotta be Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I can't not say that. So
Kelsey's been pretty insane. So
his playoffs have been off the charts, dude.
The big Yeti.
Why would he stop? And no offense, like if he won the MVP, that would just cap the whole.
It'd be pretty awesome, right? Like if a tight end, if one of these two tight ends wins it, like it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, like it'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
tight end's a great position, man. It's fucking.
It is now. Like the tight end, the way the tight end position is played now is really cool. Okay, so I got Sneed, a cornerback. If the Chiefs win this game, it's because Sneed made fun of Purdy and took a couple to the house. I also believe that the way that Kelsey's playing and the way he played last game, that he would be the MVP if it was outside of Mahomes. Yeah. On the defensive side of the 49ers, I have two picks. I have my heart, and then I have reality. I think that on the defensive side, my heart picks Dre Greenlaw. I think he's been through enough shit this week that I think that he deserves it. I think that if I'm picking with my brain, I think in order to take away Kelsey, Pacheco, and keep Mahomes at bay, it's Fred Warner all day. I think on the offensive side, I again have a heart and a reality pick. My heart, I'll leave my heart pick for the end. So the reality pick, I think, outside of Purdy, I think is Christian McCaffrey. I think that's probably the easiest, probably out of all the players on the field. It's probably the easiest outside of the quarterbacks for both teams to say that McCaffrey's the guy. Yeah. And then my heart, because I feel like he literally is the heart of this team. Sorry, not literally. He's pretty close to it, though. Emotional leader, apparently, in the locker room. You just don't see it. It's Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, I'm telling you right now, is unbelievable. The things that he pulls off. and we have converted so many third downs because of this guy. The
He's
drives
a
that
massive body too, right? Like he's a big,
unbelievable
tall dude. Like what a target to have, right? You get down that
Unbelievable.
red zone, man. That guy is such a cool target to have.
Yeah. He's the wide receiver that I was talking about being available.
I remember watching. I remember picking him out last year, and I always like for fantasy, like the talls. They get picks, right? Like you know you're going to get a handful of throws, and that guy is a rising star. I agree. I like that.
Yeah, like he'll be a number 2 on any other team for sure.
All day.
Right?
All day.
And when he's the number 2, he has a chance to be the number 1. Does he have the skill? Does he have the speed to be a number 1? Probably not. Right. But it's only because we have Debo and Brent and Ayuk that he can't be one of those two. But the fact that he comes in on third down and somehow still manages to find himself open, like I don't know how he probably catches 2 third downs every game. Minimum.
He's like a Mike Evans, right? Like it's big, just reliable dude. He doesn't have to be fast, but he's big and fast enough to get.
And he catches ridiculous balls, man. So
yeah, no, you got a lot of weapons on the Niners, man. I'll give him that. I think that's a key factor too. Just how much they can move that ball around in the air is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think they got to run the score up. They gotta run. They gotta run the score up. They gotta score. They gotta keep scoring, right? So
it'll be interesting to see how the crowd is balanced out being in Vegas too.
Right now, they're saying. The funny thing is that it's hard with the Super Bowl crowd, right? So right now, I think the ticket places are saying it's probably like a 60-40, maybe 70-30 Niners. No, Niners. Really? Yeah. If you watch the media night, it was unbelievable. The Niners completely overran the place. They booed people off the stage. But the thing is that when you get to the Super Bowl, there's so many corporate people there that they're not necessarily fans.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Chiefs are an easy team to be a fan of.
Yeah, they really are.
10 years or whatever.
They really
right?
are. They really are. Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking like 70-30 on the Chiefs side.
Sort of like the new Pats.
Well, I was going to say that. Like, if they win here, it's just like, fuck. We just got over the Patriots, and now we're just doing the Chiefs.
Here we fucking go again. They're like, they're talking about that the media night. They're like, man, all of a sudden we're the enemies. Like, blah, blah, blah. Everybody loved us a couple of years ago. And, well, yeah, you win a couple, and you're always there. And what do you expect? Right?
You know what?
Give other people a chance.
I remember we were talking about this, and it's like teams you like to watch, and I say, "Oh, I love watching the Chiefs. They're like fun. They're electrifying. It's fun to watch." But this year, they haven't been nearly as exciting.
Fun to watch.
They haven't been.
You watch them. You watch them this year to watch them fuck up. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You watch them drop balls and ridiculous interceptions and shit like that because that's what was happening all year. And lining up a yard over the line of scrimmage. Like that's the kind of shit that's why you watch them.
Where's Kadarius Toney?
He was there at media night. And he's like, oh, I didn't really mean. He's like, I really wasn't taking a shot at the Chiefs. Yeah, I bet you were. I hope he plays. He's the best player on our team.
Yeah, no kidding. Eh?
Watch, he'll be the MVP for fuck's sakes.
He's gonna come back.
So to wrap this up,
let's do it.
Rick, you're going Niners.
I'm
picking the Chiefs. I'll be wearing that Wishnowski jersey though. That's behind Rick.
Yeah, it's the wrong number now. He changed it. Yeah.
Luke, are you making a pick?
Yeah.
You can take it back by Sunday if you want.
Oh man, I'm feeling good about the Niners. I like them. If the only reason I'd say I like the Chiefs, I really do like the Travis Kelce story. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably one of the few people out there that think it's great. I just, he's Andy Reid, Eagle. Jason's probably on the sideline. I love watching all that. I'm pretty neutral in this one, but support my boy Rick. I'll cheer for the Niners in this one.
Appreciate that. Well, there you are. If we had Rob here, he'd probably
definitely take the Chiefs.
Yeah. He hates it. Man, he likes picking against the Niners, eh? So
he just likes picking against you.
All right, yeah, he does.
He did pick against the Niners a lot this year, eh?
He really did, yeah. He pretty much looked at my picks and was like, I'll go the opposite of that all week.
Yeah.
Which is why he lost. Anyway. Well, it's been a blast, lads. Thanks for doing this.
It was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do another one. I don't
really think that there's a need to do one. Maybe one a month if we choose to keep doing it.
I wouldn't do one a month because we'll talk about that after. But I meant like a post Super Bowl if we want. We'll discuss. But this might be the end of the special team show.
Might be the end of the special team show. Signing off, baby.
Might come back stronger than ever.
You never know. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Might have our three faces on the logo instead of
Yeah,
me,
it
Rob.
might be different
Instead of
than us.
Rob's face. We'll have to
That's right.
scratch his face
Yeah, we
out
just
and put
kick him
Luke's
out.
face over top of it.
We'll
Two
just draw
brothers
a
and
mark-
one from another
Can we
mother.
just draw a marker across his face or something? That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Just sub it on top of mine.
Yeah, we'll go back to the drawing board and reimagine it for next season.
Yeah,
man, it was a
I think
blast,
so.
though.
I
It
think
was really
it's been
cool.
fun. I think it's
Yeah.
made the season more fun for sure.
I've definitely dove into different aspects of, like, I sit and watch all the football games as much as I can, but I
Yeah.
definitely dove into different aspects of it sometimes this year, and that was kind of fun.
You know what I
So-
really enjoyed was the Saturday games and how they really front loaded that this year. I didn't think I would, but just like watching football like all weekend, I really liked that, man. My kids got into it. I don't know. It was just that's probably one of the strongest years we've had in a while just to get back into the game, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
Despite yelling at my team for 16 weeks straight and then finally give it up.
Yeah,
Maybe
feel
13.
that pain, brother. Feel that pain. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Reg, do your thing.
Like, comment, subscribe, YouTube,
Word.
Spotify,
Peace.
Apple Podcasts. We love you guys. Bye.
Go Niners.
Peace.